Hey everyone, welcome to Maribel Blue Unfiltered. I am your host, Maribel Blue, and today we are talking about episode 2. This is actually a do-over. I had combined episodes 2 and 3. My internet was acting up, I was freezing, and then even when I tried editing the video, it was just awful. There was no salvaging that video. On top of that, I was fighting with a mosquito. I'll probably put like an outtake there when I was trying to catch it, but that's neither here nor there. So now here I am, and it also gave me an opportunity to update my office. If you can see in the background, I changed things around and put up some pictures just to give this room a little bit of ambiance because I felt the background was so messy with my memory board and shitload of pictures, whatever. So I'm just glad that now I have everything together. That way, when I do my coaching channel, I'll be doing meditation videos, and those videos will be going up directly on my website on maribelblue.com. And I'm also going to be writing an article on the YouTube community lines and changes and how they're disabling people to not use ad blocker anymore. And I know that meditation is so important for people not to be disrupted by ads. So I believe I will be putting those videos up exclusively. There will be no charge to watch any of those videos. So I welcome you to sign up to maribelblue.com, and you will be able to see all meditation videos there. That way you will have a quiet, uninterrupted space to meditate. And I'm really happy with the results of my new office. So with all that being said, for all of you who are new, welcome to this channel. We talk everything reality TV, and we have the Unfiltered Rabbit Hole series where I discuss entertainment, drama, including crime, and everything that's unusual. So there's going to be a little bit of different things going on in this channel, and I'm really looking forward to it. And if you are not new, welcome back. Thank you for the continued love and support. And with all that being said, let's get down to episode 2 of The Golden Bachelor. So, if you don't know already, The Golden Bachelor with Gary Turner, and he spells it like Jerry, Gerry, because I totally bashed his name on the last video. He is the new Golden Bachelor. And if you don't know what the Golden stands for, basically people who are up there in age looking for a second chance at love. And you know what? Everybody deserves love at any age. It doesn't matter how old you are. Jerry's story it's a very sad story. He was married to his high school sweetheart. She passed away 6 years ago unexpectedly from a bacterial infection. Now here he is looking for love in the most unconventional way, which is on the set of The Bachelor, Bachelorette, everything that history has been made of this show. I have heard that the ratings have gone down some since the first episode. There are some people that feel funny about watching older people being intimate, so to speak. You're not really seeing anything like gross or forward, for lack of a better word. I know there's another word for it, but I can't think of it right now. So if you do feel uncomfortable, well, then I don't know. I mean, if you have parents and you see them being intimate in the sense of hugging each other and holding hands, that's not really a gross thing. It's nice to see that people stay committed and love each other. That is the story with Gary. Here he is at this unconventional setting of The Bachelor. He's the Golden Bachelor and he's looking for love. And on this episode, everything basically begins. His first date was with Teresa. Now, this is the whole thing that I find bizarre because they started off in the daytime. They get into this car and somehow they wind up on the freeway at night. The headlights aren't working. They're both freaking out. There's a big truck going by. It almost was like the movie Clueless when all of that traffic was going by when Dion drove into the freeway.
What the hell? Yo, you're getting on the freeway.
What?
No, turn right. Get out of the lane. No, no, no. Okay, get the procedure. Just get out the lane. It's wrong.
They get there at the restaurant. Teresa shares the loss of her husband while he was waiting for a kidney transplant, which unfortunately did not come in time. And she was there to see him take his last breath. One of the things that Jerry said, he liked that he was able to listen to Teresa's story without getting caught up in his own emotions. It's very sad because a lot of these people that are on this show, they lost a partner, hence the reason why they are there. The date didn't seem very long. Everything is so like fast forward. They went outside, all of a sudden people are dancing around and it's a flash mob and the song Don't Stop Believing comes on and everyone's dancing around, and then all of a sudden you see Gary like coming in the middle. It was almost like that last scene in Dirty Dancing.
I'll tell you something. It's good to love because
Comes out with the rose. He asks her if she will accept his rose, and everybody's cheering. And it was very cute. I mean, of course, she's going to accept. And that was pretty much the date. It wasn't much anything else to it. So now let's move on to the group date. The group date was very, very simplistic. It was a themed photo shoot. So you had the theme kind of like the storybook theme. And then you had like the 70s and then the 80s theme. And then you had the wedding theme. So while everybody is taking pictures, you can see Kathy trying to capture Gary's attention. And at some point while they were taking the pictures, she was trying to turn his head towards her and then he turned the other way. And I'm not sure what that was all about. I did watch episode 3 and I'm definitely going to talk about her. Trust me when I tell you. She's not a villain in the making. She was probably born a villain. And then on top of that, she just had a lot of things to say about the picture. She was talking about his wig and how it didn't look good. And she just didn't seem to be focusing on the fun of what was going on in that moment. And then I'm saying to myself, even though she was trying to turn his face over to her, I was saying, imagine being a woman of any age trying to force a guy to be into you instead of allowing things to happen naturally. Gary's not the last man on this earth. She needs to stop acting like he is instead of just letting things happen naturally. But I will explain in the next video why things for her don't happen naturally. One of the women, Nancy, got really caught up in the moment. She had chosen to wear a wedding dress so they could do the wedding dress theme photo shoot. Wedding dress, not wedding dressed. She was crying. And one of the women had approached her and was like, what's going on? She was like, the last time that I had seen myself in a wedding dress was when I was getting married to my husband. And she was really caught up in that moment, very, very emotional, like emotional to a point. It's almost as if like she was experiencing her husband's death all over again. And Gary had noticed that something wasn't right. And after they had taken the picture, this is the thing that really bothers me, because in Bachelor Nation, so to speak, they all have like these little lingos, I don't feel a connection, or did I miss something? So when he's talking, it almost seems like it's not natural. Like when he said, oh, Nancy, can I talk to you? Like, did I miss something? Did I do something wrong? Because I feel like, there's something amiss, like a missed connection. And I'm like, what is he talking about? Like, this is a photo shoot. And if she is experiencing something, how is it amiss? She tells him what was going on, what she was feeling. And he totally understood that it really had nothing to do with him, that it had to do with things that was going on with her. And I guess this is a thing that's disturbing. Like when somebody's going through something and you go and you say good morning to them and they really don't say it back, or they just kind of ignore you. And then you think to yourself, well, what did I do to them? And a lot of the times it's not anything that you did. It's how they're feeling in that moment, that something could have happened where now they just don't want to communicate with anybody. And it has nothing to do with you. So that's what I found bizarre. I'm like, here's a man who's been around for a long time, who has a lot of experience in life, who probably had employees at one point or another when he was running restaurants. So I'm sure that a lot of the times the employees weren't always in a good mood. Did you always think that it was about you? Moving on. Now, during the group date, the women are together, the whole photo shoot is over, and they're talking about how important it is for them to get the roses. Of course, it's going to be important for them. That's what they want. They want to be that special pick for the group date. That way, they could lock in that rose. They don't have to worry about the rose ceremony. They have everything locked in. Ellen starts expressing herself why she wanted to get that rose. She feels like she's amongst these beautiful women, and for Gary to choose her would be like a special thing. Whereas Kathy, she was only thinking about how that rose would match her red dress. She wasn't thinking about anything else. And that right there, when you're thinking to yourself, well, look at how that rose would look good on me and my fashion ensemble, on how it would lighten up my dress, and you're only thinking about yourself. You're not thinking about anybody else. The rose isn't about developing a relationship with Gary. It really is all about her. So while everybody was taking turns, I think Gary already had in his mind who he wanted to give the rose to. And when he was sitting down with all of the women, he picked up the rose. He asked Nancy if he could pull her aside and talk to her. And in their little conversation, he liked that she had opened up, that she shared with him the story with her husband, and he gave her the rose. So Nancy locked in the rose for that night. Now, the next day, it was Gary's birthday, and it's also the rose ceremony. So it's like a double-edged sword. In one part, he's celebrating his birthday and he's happy. And then the other part is he's going to have to send women home that he's not having a connection with. He gets into the mansion. Nobody's there. He's like, where is everybody? He goes outside and surprise, they gave him a birthday party. Now, again, a lot of these women felt the need to make a secondary first impression. I don't know what that was all about. There's no need for that. If you want to establish a relationship, does Sandra need to show off the fact that she can throw a football? Like, who cares about that? Let's move on to deeper conversations. What turns you on? What puts you off? What is it that you like to do when you're not working? Whatever the case may be, because a lot of them are not working anyway. So what are you doing that makes you happy? Like, they should be having these conversations. These people are so filled with history, with experiences. Who cares about throwing a football? Let's talk about deep conversations, things that we haven't heard in a long time. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, let's hear a little bit of deeper talk and less of the football and popping out of cakes. So I wanted to break down some of the women here that I feel may work or may not work. The first person is Susan. Now, Susan is a fun-loving person. She's popping out of the cake. She has a vibrant attitude. She talked about how she's cooking for all of the ladies, and she just really has this vibrant personality. But I don't believe that she is a good match for Gary. It's kind of like if you're watching Married at First Sight and they decided to pair them together and she wants to go out all the time. Now, assuming that Gary is a much more reserved person and probably doesn't want to go out like maybe 90% of the time, there would be a mismatch in that relationship. And then you'll have Dr. Pepper talking about how they need to work things out. Because, you know, Married at First Sight, I make fun of that show hardcore because when they pair people up, they look at how opposites attract. And sometimes, not all the time, opposites will attract. You can't like put two entirely different people together and then say, well, they're both in the healthcare field, so that's why we put them together. There's like no real common sense in that. But I'm not going to talk about Married at First Sight. I know that there have been other episodes after. And like I said, I'm one person. I'm doing a lot of research. I'm putting a lot of different shows together. And this all takes time. Plus, I'm working full time, which ideally I would like to be doing this full time. This is why I tell you, please subscribe. Tell your friends about this channel and have them subscribe. Comment below and let's get these channels, both of my channels, let's get them moving. Back to this show with Susan. I don't believe that Susan and Gary are a good match. The next person is Natasha. Now, Natasha, she's like an elder coach, which I'm not sure what that means, what that entails. I'm kind of guessing that maybe there are people who are not coming to terms with being older, so she coaches them. I'm not sure how it works. Everybody has their own niche in coaching. So with Natasha, she is also a very vibrant, positive person, but there's not a match there with her and Gary. She needs somebody at her level. And when I say at her level, I'm talking about somebody who has that same personality where they feel good about life, about themselves. And I'm not saying that Gary isn't. For me, he's like this well reserved person. And then you have like these two women, Susan and Natasha, that they're like rah rah all over the place. It's not a match. So, no. April. Now, April, she's like this spiritual person. She's calm. I know that she's a therapist. But for me, I feel like she's the kind of person that you will call upon when you need like some spiritual healing. Otherwise, for her and Gary to be together, it might work. But then the other side of me says it might not work. Now, let's move on to Leslie. Leslie seems to be a good fit in the sense that he's very attracted to her. She looks like a much younger person next to other women who are there that are around her age. Now, I don't know why that is. It could be because she's a dancer or some kind of a fitness instructor. So she's always moving around or taking care of herself. And you could tell a lot of some of these women have used Botox in one form or another. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with trying to keep your youthful appearance, because at some point I'm hoping that I could do the same thing just to like test it out and see what becomes of it. But I don't want to really ruin my face and look like a scary Madonna, because, you know, at some point she looked real scary and I don't know what she was doing to her face. So even though Leslie is this another vibrant person, I'm feeling like you have all of these wonderful, fantastical women, and then you have Gary. I don't know what it is. I'm feeling I'm like looking back on my list. I'm like going down this list and I'm saying, gee, not everybody is for Gary. Now we have Faith. Now, Faith, as you know, got the first impression rose. But now it seems like Gary put the safe distance between them. It's almost as if he's talking to her, but he has like this wall in front of him. Like he doesn't really want to make an investment. Now, again, this is only episode 2. Things can change between 3 and 4, which I believe 4 aired last week, and that's the episode that I'm going to watch. And I've already seen episode 3, so I already know what happened there. I'm hoping that he does really open up to this relationship. She really seems authentic, and she's almost like at the same level that he is. They just seem like an even keeled couple, that she would enjoy that house and she would enjoy the view of the lake and have a really wonderful life with Gary. And now finally, let's talk about Ellen. She seems to be the unexpected person. You know how like somebody just comes out of the woodwork and you never would think the both of them together? There is something going on with him and Ellen that I just don't see at this moment. Now, I know that they do have a date in episode 3, and like I said, I will get into that at some point. She just gives off this real authentic vibe. She really, really likes Gary. She cares about him. They're just really meshing well together, and I would like to see how that relationship turns out. And on top of that, that he gave her a gift during the rose ceremony of a framed picture of them together during the photo shoot. So that was really, really, really intense, because I don't think he gave a gift to anybody else during this episode. So let's close this out. Who got the roses? Leslie, Joan, Edith, Ellen, Sandra, Susan, Christina, Faith, April, and unfortunately, Kathy. Who went home? Janine, Natasha, and Peggy. For some odd reason, Kathy seemed to be a better pick than the other three ladies. I have no idea what that's all about, other than these are the producers saying, yeah, you need to pick this woman because we need to have somebody miserable on board to make the episodes juicy. I hate to put it that way, but it is the truth. So that is all for episode 2 of The Golden Bachelor. Please leave your comments down below. I want to read what you're thinking about this show. Do you like it? Do you hate it? Do you not want to see a Golden Bachelor season 2? I want to hear it all. With all that being said, this is Maribel Blue signing off. Always remember, be good to yourself, be good to each other, and most importantly, take care of you. Bye, everybody.